Hey, welcome everyone to the next Wikid creator interview. My name is Michael. I'm joined by Matt. We are the Wikid co-founders,
Hey, how's it
and
going, people?
we're here today to interview Ibai Canales. Welcome.
Gabon, Jaun Andreok. That was
I,
me in Basque. How's that?
what does that mean?
Good evening. Actually, it should be good morning, but yeah, good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Nice.
In the black tongue of Mordor.
Oh God, I feel like we're cursed now. That's a good way to start.
You are cursed to never get paid again in your whole life.
Damn it, Ibai. So, for those who aren't familiar, I'm sure most of you know who he is, but for those who aren't familiar, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, Ibai, and kind of what your background is?
Sure. I'm the guy who wrote and drew Decimators, which is apparently, according to these two guys here, a hit webcomic, which I'm happy to hear. And I'm some northern Spanish guy who was lucky enough to be picked up by them, and now I'm drawing comics for the fine gentleman in Comicsgate through Ironsides, also through the Abductables. I also drew Necromancer Tombstone Blues for Artemis Worm, and I'm currently working in Ironsides Part 2 with the boy Zach. Abductables. I also drew Necromancer Tombstone Blues for Artemis Worm, and I'm currently working in Ironsides Part 2 with the boy Zach. I'm here myself. That's disturbing.
What's that?
I'm hearing myself. What?
I think that was my fault.
Was that me?
I think it was my fault. My bad. I pulled up the YouTube video to join in the chat, and I think the
yeah, and I do the same thing, so I understand your pain. I always make the same
totally,
mistake.
I just muted it, so we're all good to go. So I apologize. Go ahead though. Please continue.
Oh, so yeah, no, that's pretty much all I have to say. I'm some nobody from northern Spain who was lucky enough to be considered a good artist, and now everyone wants to work with me in their indie comics, which makes me really happy.
Well, you've already seen a lot of success, so I think you should be really proud of what you've done so far and continue to do. Speaking of which, you last time we spoke, you said how you've been staying really busy. So, do you find that you're kind of still staying just as busy these days?
I think even more so because I keep getting commissions through a direct message everywhere in every social media account that I have. Apparently, I don't know if it's like I'm really likable through social media or what, but everyone seems to want to work with me, and I'm cool with that. I'm cool.
So you enjoy the workflow?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have it any other way. And I think the best part is helping young unknown creators launch their projects. I really like seeing as I always say, the small guys getting out there and putting their stuff for everyone to see and support.
Yeah, speaking of which, you recently worked on a couple projects with some kind of newer indie creators. Is that right?
Yeah. Both Michael Derrick and Jacob Morris. The first one wrote The Abductables. The second one wrote Thompson Blues. They're both newcomers, and yeah, I really enjoyed working with them.
Nice, yeah. And is Necromancer still going at the moment?
I think so. What day is today? It's June 1st, right?
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm.
Oh, shit, I'm gonna be 38 in 2 weeks.
Oh
man,
wow!
I feel so old. I'm an old guy. I'm about to enter middle age.
Don't tell me that, man. I don't want to hear that.
When's your birthday, Canales?
Sorry?
When's your birthday?
June 13th.
Oh wow, the day before mine.
Wow.
No way.
Yeah, seriously.
You guys
I'll be turning 29.
The circle is now complete.
The circle is not complete. You guys will have to do a joint celebration that day, or one of the days.
Actually, everyone seems to be a June child for some reason. I don't know if that's a comic book thing or a nerd thing or what.
I have to wash my hands of that. I'm a March myself, so.
Oh, you're a Marchist.
I'm a Marchist, yes.
a cultural Marchist.
Very strict Marchist. But no, that's a happy early birthday. That's exciting. You gonna do anything?
Seriously.
I don't know, man. I'm living this really ascetic life, so I think I have everything I would want. I bought myself a new fountain pen like 2 weeks ago. I don't know. I don't even like
What's
modern comics anymore. So
what's your drink of choice?
rum and cola.
I'm getting a rum and cola fountain, and then everything will be complete.
I'm extremely cool with that.
Yeah,
If you guys would be able to do that, I really
I think
appreciate it.
we can send you one over. That should be something we can arrange.
I'm sure you can
Possibly.
find a cheap one at AliExpress or Amazon or whatever.
Amazon's got everything, you know.
So yeah, no. Replying to your earlier question, Matt. Yeah, no. Necromancer is already closed. We had it on demand for like a month, and we made 115% of what we needed. So
Yes,
yeah, that's a pretty good thing. That's pretty good news.
that's exciting.
Mhm. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I mean, so thank you. I mean, so far, all the crowdfunded projects that I've been part of have been successful. At least since I became part of Comicsgate. So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty proud of myself.
Yeah,
Yeah, it sounds like your name has a lot of weight to it, so to speak.
I
true.
like to think so. I like to think so because this whole thing is if your name becomes attached to things that don't succeed, people are gonna wonder maybe it's your fault. So it's just like in the movies. I mean, if you've been in a movie that like in 3 movies tanked, you don't get hired as much.
Hmm. True, or like an actor who gets typecast or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe the audience doesn't like him. So I think it did for me. Apparently they like me. So again, I'm cool with that.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
keep the favor of the people, so to speak.
I want to say in the chat, Dan Sakura says, "Ibai, my Spanish lullaby."
And you should hear me speak in Basque. It's even sweeter.
The Basque is ever so sweet.
Yeah, it's. I was going to say that it's a language of love, but it clearly isn't, since our birth rates are abnormally low. But it's still pretty sweet to hear.
And hey, it is still the language of love, isn't it? Though I mean, that's what they say. I think, right? Or is it French?
I think it's French, but
Eh,
I don't know how the birth rates are, so I need to I need to look into that.
I don't know why people say that about France. I don't really see it as a language of love. I just see it as lazy English.
But
It's like speech impeded English.
I'm sorry?
It's like speech impeded English. Like you have a speech impediment and you have like something in your throat.
like a frog in your throat, so, you know what I mean? Just like the old saying goes. So
I was just being mean to my French friends. Sorry.
I'm sure they understand. I'm sure they're used to it. But I was curious. You talked a little bit about some of the newer projects you worked on. But what are some of the past comic projects that you've been involved with?
Well, I've been trying to work professionally on comic books since, let me think, probably 2013, around the time I finished college. And I've been involved in several web comics and indie comics. Some of them were not really published, but like we had like snippets published in IDW Comics. One of them was Soul Man, written by my friend Sal Bruculeri, a really nice guy from New Jersey, and that did make a bit of money. Then we also worked together on a webcomic called See You Next Tuesday, which is the what would happen if Frankenstein's bride. Yeah, I know. I didn't came up with the title. I'm just the artist.
It's just so funny because I just recently was watching something and made that connection because I never, when you told me the title for the first time, I didn't get the connection. So I just, that's hilarious.
Yeah, no. Again, the stars are right. Things fall in place on their own accord. I'm getting increasingly mystical with age.
Really?
Wasn't
Yeah,
that what it's supposed to happen?
I guess so. That the older you get and the longer your beard gets, the more like an old wizard you become, I guess.
Seems to happen.
You might. So I found your. I think I found your comic here.
Yeah, probably. If you Google Ibai Canales on Google, you will find a lot of accusations of being a sexist, racist, misogynist, and all that,
Oh,
and also a bunch of comic projects that I worked in the past.
is this right? It's on Comixology.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. I think both of them are.
All 4 issues. It looks like.
Yep. Yeah, I had a great time working on those. You can
Oh,
tell I had no idea what I was doing by the judging from the art, but I really had a good time working on them.
looks like a fun book.
It is. I mean, they're both dark comedies.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna be picking that up.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome, man. That's gonna be a fun read. That's cool. So
So
yeah,
yeah, and,
you worked on some interesting projects.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I like to think that all projects that I've worked in were somehow original and never hitherto never made. If that makes any sense.
Oh shit. So do you mind if I screen share this real quick?
I don't know. Please do.
Let's see here. So I have the second issue up here. You really have a knack for covers. You really.
I wish I could just do covers. Can you imagine that being able to just live off making covers?
Yeah, some people
It'd be
do.
awesome, honestly.
Some people
I
do
bet a
make.
lot of people would love it.
Yeah, I remember the old Hellblazer guy, Tim Bradstreet. I think he was a
Yeah.
strict cover artist.
Yeah, I think I have a couple of comics made by him here, but yeah, he was
Oh, really? Oh,
mostly
interesting.
he actually illustrated an adaptation of Clive Barker's Age of Desire. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that.
I've never read that particular book, but I'm familiar with Clive Barker's writing. He's very good writer.
Yeah, well, I think he did illustrate a couple of sequential pieces, but yeah, he's still mostly like a one piece illustrator.
Interesting. Yeah. No, yeah, this is very cool. So, and then here we have the first issue.
It's actually again, it's a dark noir comedy set in the monster underworld of real world. Like it's the Bride of Frankenstein hunting like urban legends, like the melon heads and the lowland frogs and all that.
Nice, dude. We got some zombies over here.
Yeah, we have everything here. We have zombies, werewolves, the usual and the more modern stuff.
It's almost like you get to see some of the early some of your early monster work in this book.
Yeah, you can see the seeds of what would become later on as my style. That's just
Totally.
me not knowing what I was doing, just experimenting with markers and brushes and all that.
So is this similar? Is this dissimilar or similar to how you create Decimators? Would you say?
No, that's actually what inspired me to create Decimators. I had never done a webcomic before, and I was doing the art for someone else's writing. So we had like see you next Tuesday was always finished, and I was like, well, I've gotten used to like drawing one weekly page for a webcomic. What if I wrote my own stuff and I did my own webcomic, and that's how I got the idea of creating Decimators.
Really? So you it was just a 4-issue kind of a mini series that you guys were doing?
I think it was going to be an ongoing, but Sal got really busy, with his real life.
Okay, yeah,
Which is it's something that some people seem to have, not me, but some people seem to have. So we had to like cut it short and like give it like an open ending.
Okay, that's fair. So that not every story needs a solid ending. Openings have.
Yeah, I like to not really end them, but leave some things hanging as I did with Decimate, so I can retake it later on in the future.
Let's start to yeah. And it's cool to see how that inspired you to create Decimators, and I could totally see the style kind of coming from there with the whole webcomic and the layout.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah, that was the thing. I mean, it became part of my weekly routine to draw one sequential page, which I also discovered it was really good practice because, as I said, See You Next Tuesday was purely experimental. I was never a big ink guy, So the Soul Man is all drawn in pencils and then inked digitally, like playing with the levels. So I decided to continue experimenting. My weekly page of experimentation, but just with another story. This time written by me.
So I want to get on to talk more about Decimators in a little bit, but before that, I just wanted to really briefly have you touch on a little bit on your graphic novel Weregun, if you don't mind.
Oh no, absolutely, please do.
Oh yeah, so you kind of did this a while back, and where does this fit in the timeline of See You Next Tuesday?
Well, I'm beginning now. I think this was before See You Next Tuesday, because in 2015, when I first visited New York Comic Con with Salvatore Bruculleri, I had already drawn Wergan. So yeah, I think Wergan was probably my first attempt at making a serious graphic novel.
Really? Huh.
Yeah, I was again experimenting with pencils and markers and digital coloring and all that. And again, I didn't know what the hell what I was doing, but I had this idea in my mind, and I thought, well, this may be cool to draw. This may be cool to color. So I'm just gonna write like really loose plot outline in a notepad, and once it's done, I'm gonna do it all by myself. I'm gonna draw it, color it, and let it myself.
Man, that's a lot of dedication right there to put into it. You know, it's pretty amazing how you've managed to kind of become a jack of all trades in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you go to college and try to make movies. Because I come from a movie making background, and you discover that you're one of few guys who are actually willing to go the extra mile to have the thing done. So you learn to become like this, as you said, like this jack of all trades. Okay, I'm gonna direct this thing, and I'm gonna edit it, and I'm just gonna hum into the microphone and call it a soundtrack. Because no one else is gonna do it for me. So I just better
True.
get shit together and try to do it myself.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, just like they say, you want to do something right, you got to do it yourself.
That's right.
And clearly
Yep.
you did it right. Because
Well, I tried to have Worgan published in a couple of places, but I was a noob, and the art wasn't entirely there yet. So I got rejected, and I said, well, why the hell I'm gonna publish it myself?
oh yeah, that's smart. Yeah, go the indie publishing route.
So, what would you say as far as uh, creating your own stuff versus you could say working with your boy Zach, or even with working on Abductables, and even with Derek, I believe his name is, with
Yeah, Michael Derrick.
Necromancer, but
Oh,
or Necrotome. So, what would you say is kind of more of the differences and what you like about each one?
well, I think the biggest thing there is that you have to understand that you're not alone in the whole thing anymore, and they are also artists and they have their vision. So what you may think looks cool for you may not look as cool for them. So you have to learn to let go and become more open-minded, because I've always been a lone creator. I always drew and wrote and colored my own stuff, and now I'm being part of a team. So I have to learn to just not be a huge ego monster, and listen to the other guys' point of view. And I think it's a good thing because it helps you think outside the box. It's a good thing to have the input of another artist and tell you, this looks cool, but why don't you try this? Or I really wanted to look it like this, so please redraw. And that helps you grow as an artist. You don't become stagnant.
Hmm. Yeah, that's true.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, that sounds good.
that's cool. And do you find though that you like one versus the other more?
It's more comfortable being another guy's artist because you don't have to think as much. And plus, if the whole thing doesn't succeed and it goes to hell, it's not your fault. You're just the artist. You can always blame the other guy because he didn't promote it enough or whatever. But I like both approaches for different reasons. I keep saying that my goal in life at some point is to become the new Sean Gordon Murphy, being able to write and draw my own stuff again, and not close myself off to working with other people. But I would like to become a complete author again at some time in the future.
In
It
the
sounds like
chat,
a
excuse me.
pretty sound goal.
In the chat, Dan says, "I understand your boy Zach was pretty particular that way."
Yeah, Zach will put you through boot camp. It's like you can tell the guy's a marine, and he keeps saying this thing that he heard a drill instructor say: if you got a booger in your nose, I'm gonna tell you have a booger in your nose. And yeah, I mean, he will tell you. The other day mentioned it in a video. I sent in a page, and I wasn't in the best of shapes because I had barely slept, and I was like feeling anxious and depressed for reasons that really factor in. And he told me, it's not that this page is bad, it's that I know you can do it better because I've seen you do it better. So,
Yeah.
why don't you try and do it again? And I was like, well, yeah, I take that I take that as a compliment,
Really?
because yeah, he didn't say this page sucks. He told me like, uh, this
Mm.
doesn't look drawn by you. I know you're better than this, so
He's
just
like, "This is
please
not your
redraw."
standards."
No, to me,
So yeah,
that
I don't
sounds
know.
like a compliment. He's being absolutely honest, and for an artist, that's
Yeah, I mean,
usually the best.
and
Wow.
actually, the second attempt at drawing that page, uh, we both liked it better than the first one. So, yeah, anytime, Zach.
Mm. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's good to hear that you guys can have that kind of working relationship.
Yeah, I mean, he's a tough guy. He's always worried about being blunt when he tells you things, and he is blunt. But you know that he's not a bad guy. He's not trying to fuck with you. He just wants the comic to look as best as possible. So you gotta respect that.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense.
Oh yeah, definitely. The reason why he's probably a little worried about being a little too blunt is because he comes from a military background. That's exactly what they're known for. My brother is the exact
Yeah.
same way.
Yeah, it's the booger thing. If you get a booger in your nose, he's going to tell you about it, and I appreciate it. I mean, he doesn't sugarcoat, and I think uh, drawing both iron sights, both volumes. The second one, I'm still at it. Uh, that has been my biggest learning experience yet. It really helped me become a better artist, understand better how to, because when you draw fantastic stuff like Necromancer or the Abductables, you always have more leeway to go crazy and go full Simon Beasley, and the background is not really that important as the muscles on this guy or the gore being splattered on the wall. But with Iron Sights, you really have to go the old, I'm gonna say, the European way. You know how the Europeans draw like this really clean, realistic style with the figures all really well set in the space and all that.
Mm.
And that was actually like going to college. Like you have to really learn to draw well and learn your anatomy, learn your expressions, and learn your perspective and all that.
So, are you entirely self-taught then?
I went to college for
Are you?
6 years, but it was the biggest waste of time of my life. So I'm going to say yes. I'm self.
Save yourself a little honor, huh?
That's funny.
Dude, no, really. I mean, I signed up for anatomy classes, and they were just, you're going to depict this model for like an hour, and the teacher is going to come by, and he's gonna look like he did a lot of cocaine because he's like really anxious and fidgety and covered in sweat, and he's gonna tell you, I don't like this, redraw, redraw, redraw. Okay, just,
Jesus,
and
dude.
Hey,
that's all that was. I mean, I can do that in my home, watching 3D models on the screen. I don't have to pay a college for that.
Sounds like that Gordon
true.
Ramsay's Hell's Kitchen kind of shit. Like, you are a terrible person.
Well, it's a little bit
Yeah,
better
no,
than
this
it's a little bit better than your teacher going by and then, oh, that's fine. And meanwhile, it's just stick figure style. You
Uh,
know,
yeah, I mean
that's kind of
the
the
word.
teachers I had in college. So I was like, fuck this, I'm done.
Mm.
Yeah, I keep saying that the problem I have with college is that they didn't teach you. They just evaluated you.
Mm.
They just told you draw this. You draw this, and they told you I don't like it. Do it again, and you
Hmm.
did it again until they liked it. But you didn't really know why. It was just completely subjective, you know.
Oh, yeah, I can kind of see that for a lot of art classes, especially nowadays. It seems like with the whole way modern art is now, they just kind of like, your style is your style. It doesn't matter what you know.
Yeah, it's the whole postmodern conceptual bullshit. Which I arrived at college, being self-taught. The only thing that I knew how to draw were comics, and they kept telling me, this is too much like a comic book. Be more like Jean-Michel Basquiat or whatever. We don't like comic books here. And I was like, that's the only thing I know. I mean, what else do we want to do?
Mhm.
Well, hey, in a way, it kind of set forth the future for you in a sense. Everybody's already telling you your stuff's looking like comics. You're kind of looking towards it.
Yeah, that's the
Seems like a
thing. I
set
mean,
future.
It's like, oh, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I just want to say real quick, it's like that thing where someone intends to like say like, oh yeah, this it is like kind of almost insult you, but you're like, wait, that's actually a compliment that you just gave me.
yeah, I mean, they kept saying it as if it was a bad thing,
Hey.
saying this looks too much like a comic book, and I was like, is that a bad thing? I want to be a comic book artist.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's a really interesting perspective. You know,
College sucks, man. Kids don't go.
you heard it here first, kids. Don't go to college. Become a Ibai Canales.
Yes, yes. Oh man, if I had known that I could learn a trade just by watching YouTube tutorials and just rereading old comic books and absorbing the details, which is what I'm doing now. I would have said fuck college, man. It's a waste of time.
Wow. Yeah, that's really crazy.
I personally through my own experience, because I ended up leaving college. I mean, there are certain things you should probably use for it, like you want to get more math or more science and other things like that. College, best thing for you. For art, not so much because you can just practice real life or, as you were saying, go online and teach yourself.
Yeah, I mean the whole teaching yourself by YouTube tutorials sounds like a bit corny, but it's really not. I mean, there's really good teachers out there
Yeah, no,
uploading videos to YouTube, and it's
when
really
we went
informative. I mean,
the few Comic Cons that we've been to, I would walk up to some of the artists and be like, "Hey, can you like look at my stuff and everything?" And from what they've told me and I would even ask them like, "Where do you find your best like material to learn new things?" And they're like, "Online, YouTube, forums. It really doesn't matter. Just search online." I was like, "All right, no problem."
yeah, I mean, because what is actually going to college? You're just gonna go there and watch someone who's better than you do it, and then he's going to explain to you how he did it. Well, you don't need to pay, you don't have to pay the college fee for that. You can watch that
Hmm.
online.
Hmm.
So, Ibai, I was curious about regarding Decimators. What kind of inspired you to create a story like the one you created in Decimators?
Oh wow, well, that's kind of obvious, isn't it? I mean,
Mm.
we're in a dystopian post-apocalyptic scenario right here, right now in the real life. So it's the old wish fulfillment fantasy. What would happen if social justice warriors became zombies and we had carte blanche to just kill them all like the vermin they are? Uh, and I was looking for an idea for my webcomic after we unofficially finished See You Next Tuesday, and I was taking a nap at my couch, and I decided to watch something on YouTube, and there was this French zombie movie called, I think it was The Mutants. And at the beginning of the movie, there's this title crawl that says that a zombie virus has decimated mankind. And I really thought came onto my mind. Whoa, Decimators sounds like a really badass title. But at the time, I didn't know if the Decimators were going to be the bad guys or the Decimators were going to be the zombies because they have, decimated mankind.
Mm.
So that was my starting point for
That's
the whole thing.
interesting. And then they kind of you finally figured out which roles would be which.
Yeah, yeah. I just wanted to draw like, as always, an old '90s comic. I was. I asked myself, what do I really want to draw? Like, guys who look vaguely like Deathstroke, with tactical masks and black leather and all that. And that's when I began doodling stuff and drawing concepts, and it came together, and I said, yeah, this is what I want to draw, to write and draw for the next n number of months.
No, that's really cool, and something that I've talked about this on past streams before, but something that's really fascinates me about Decimators, as I read it along, because I read it volume by volume as we put them out in print, is that it's something that it's something that I really like is when you have a series that is very humor based, but then there are elements of things that are very serious and very kind of more darker underneath, and kind of give you that moment of like switching from humor to serious. It's I love that kind of a moment.
Yeah,
And
that's
go ahead, sorry,
sorry,
go ahead.
sorry.
No, go
I
ahead.
was going to say that that's probably because I'm a child of the '80s, and
Mm.
the '80s were the golden age for horror comedy or dramatic comedy.
Oh, really?
And yeah, they did stuff like the Ghostbusters or like the Lost Boys, which
Mm.
are like horror comedies, and they would really switch from one gear to another like really masterfully, and you wouldn't really notice it. So I think
I
that's the kind of stuff that I had in mind.
I can see that because oh man, what movie was I just thinking of? Big Trouble in Little Chinatown
Yes,
would do a
yes,
lot of that, and that one's really known for being a really good comedy while having pretty not cheesy horror, but kind of B-rated horror style, and it
it
works
had
so
it had
well
some
together.
yeah, it had some really dark moments, like when
Hmm.
they I don't know what happens, but they wake up like in this underwater hell, and they're like skeletons hanging upside down.
Yeah, and it looks like
And
they've been there for ages, and you're like,
yeah, and
God
even as a kid,
damn.
you have to wonder, holy shit, did they die like that? Imagine dying like that. That would be, oof.
Yeah, that'd be pretty painful.
And the next scene, that's Kurt Russell cracking jokes again, and it's like a sweet sour sauce. I'm gonna say, since we're talking about Chinese stuff, it's like you've been exposed to something sour and then something sweet, and
Nice.
the
And it's
combination
up to
really
you to
works.
make on whatever feeling you have of that.
I kind of want to
Yeah,
watch this movie now.
I
It
do
is
too.
really good. It's really good for the way it's done
Nice.
because it really pays homage to B-rated style of horror and comedy. I think John Carpenter's the one who wrote it and directed it, right?
Yeah, he directed it, but I think he was like the third person to work on the script. So who
Makes
knows what's his
makes
and
sense that it's a John Carpenter since Kurt Russell is the main guy in it.
yeah, no, yeah,
Hmm.
Those guys must just always want to be in these movies together.
Well, they probably work
yeah.
really well together and get along.
Probably do, yeah. He
Yeah, if
probably
you if you watch if you watch any of the DVD extras in which they're together, they will spend half of the time asking each other about their families, and like like being just two bros talking about stuff instead of talking about the movies. And that they've spent a lot of time together, and they're like really close friends now.
That's funny. Huh. Well, that's cool. Yeah, because I do see that in Decimators. Like, I think it's got this. You've layered a really complex world where there's a lot of moral ambiguity, and there's a lot of interesting things going on, and so it's definitely really cool to follow that along with that.
Hmm.
Definitely.
Thank
Well,
you.
so go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say that I was trying to make the world complex, but not. I wasn't trying to go into the whole world building thing that seems to be like a real trend nowadays. I didn't want to make it like really complex. And this faction and that faction, and these two factions don't get along, but the third faction is like, I'm not doing that. I'm just doing an action story, with and you can get all the layers you want by yourself.
Hmm. That's cool. That's a nice way to do it. It's nice and streamlined
Nice
and
and nice and steady for on how it's coming out.
yeah.
Yeah, plus it's a webcomic, so you can, as I always say, you can stretch the story for like 10 pages. You have to make every page self-contained, otherwise people are gonna get bored.
Yeah, you
can
could.
see that.
It's a little bit of a different format in webcomics. Not just that, but even just the whole nature of it being horizontal. I mean, that's pretty atypical for comics.
Yeah, used to be back in the day, comics were like that here in Spain. They
Oh,
they, they
really?
had like they had landscape format. I think it was at some point in the 1960s, 70s, after the US comic books explosion and the superheroes became really famous, that they adopted the typical US vertical format. But before then, we had our own slew of Spanish, not really superheroes, but like pulp heroes. We had like the Jabato or the Guerrero del Antifaz, which were like paradigms of Hispanical virtue, like this Crusader knight that would battle the Muslims, or this clearly fascist cop that would be the shit out of commies and all that.
Sounds
And those were all done in landscape format in the day.
It's really interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is interesting. I would never expected that there were different formats for comics besides what we've seen already.
But it makes
In a
sense,
sense.
coming from a different they're coming from a different history of comics, kind of
Uh
like how manga come. What would you say is some of the early influences? I mean, are you familiar kind of with that history?
Oh yeah, no. Well, you mean why the different formats and all that? You mean?
Or just in general, like some of Spain's early influences, and it's kind of start with comics and stuff.
Well, I think I don't know when comic books actually began, but it seems to be like this global emergency, in which emergency, like they emerged. That's what I
Right.
meant.
No.
Uh, yeah, well, they seem to became a thing in all countries at the same time. I don't know why, but yeah, I mean, in Spain, we used to have, it used to be like in the rest of the world in the 1930s, 1940s, something like that. We used to have like our own version of pulpy heroes, like Tarzan and all that, and the Shadow. And for some reason, I don't know, maybe it's because the human eye works more in horizontal fashion than in vertical. It's always more comfortable for you to move your eyes horizontally than vertically. I don't know why. Maybe that's why the earlier comics were designed like that.
Hmm. Yeah, that could possibly be it. Yeah.
hmm Do you think that the two different coming from those two different styles of comics, do you think that those added to any obstacles or things that you had to really kind of work to get over, in a sense?
Nah, not really, because as I was telling Michael before, I think most of people my age in Spain are actually mentally American, and even though we grew up in Europe, we all consumed American pop culture, American movies, American comic books. So for us, it's not really hard to think like American author and make an American style comic book.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it would be actually harder for us to make a comic book that would be like 100% Spanish sensibility. Spanish colloquialisms and all that. That I think that would be harder actually.
yeah. I think that's such an interesting thing when we were talking about that earlier about how you mentioned that, and I found that quite an interesting perspective. And we kind of talked about how that we thought that might be like a generational thing with your country.
I mean,
Yeah,
it could
because
be. I mean, look on how most people younger than us act now. They don't want to be anything near American. It's like,
But
hell.
even but I think it's even more so with the Spain, just because of how I feel like the older generations are a little bit different. You know what I mean? Is that, am I right in thinking that, Ibai?
Yeah, I think you have a point there because I'm one of the first generations that were born after Franco died and the Francoist regime disappeared. And back in the day, we were really not really isolated, but we would be really protective of our own stuff. So as the pulp comics, as the Spanish pulp comics that I mentioned, we would always make stuff that put the traditional Spanish values before other stuff. So we would rather produce our own stuff than import American or foreign pictures. And for better or worse, at least that gave us a sense of our own culture and our own identity.
Mm.
And when Franco died, we opened the floodgates, and everything from the outside world came flooding in, and we got crazy about American stuff, about American movies, American comic books, and that happened in the late 70s, early 80s, which is around my time of birth. And
Mm.
I think that's why my generation is, they're culturally American.
Yeah, that's such a it's really interesting. I love it. I love hearing that because
Hmm.
it's something I didn't know about. So it's fun hearing that, and it totally makes sense that you having all the sensibilities and kind of styles that you do, and where you're coming from storytelling wise. It's a little bit of
Yeah,
a
I'm a weird mixture of American and Basque, and I'm slightly Japanese in how I like to draw like speed lines and throw in like dot shading and all that.
an amalgamation of a lot of different things.
Yeah, I'm a weird hybridization of peoples.
Hey, to the rich, they would just call that cultured. You're a cultured artist.
Mm.
Right, right. I think SJW should love a guy like me who's like really diverse in his influences.
I would
Yeah,
think so.
yeah. Not
'Cause I,
only
I
that,
also I
you're
also
not American, so they should definitely love that.
well,
Hey,
who knew?
was that?
Who knew that they would hate a guy like me who's not an American, who can barely qualify as white because no one seems to be able to decide if Spaniards are white or not.
It's a
We're
tricky.
like Italians or the Greeks. Are we white? We don't know. It might be.
Maybe. Who knows? Yeah. Well, hopefully, we'll know one day.
I, I
Once
like
the
I like the
argument's
mystery.
settled.
I like the mystery of not knowing.
Yeah, it kind of suits your enigmatic personality pretty well.
Yeah, I'm a citizen of the world right now.
Speaking of which, you seem to be getting work from around the world. How do you find time to relax these days?
I don't.
Really?
I really don't relax. I've been lucky enough to be able to catch up with all the pages that Zach sent my way. So he still hasn't sent me anything, and I've been not doing anything for like 15 hours now. I'm the happiest guy in the world.
Wow, it's like a vacation for you.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm playing video games for the first time in 2 weeks, I think.
Really? Oh my God.
Oh
What are you
wow.
playing right now?
I'm playing this thing called Grim Dawn, which is like a Diablo 3 clone. Really cool.
Really? Is it a mod or is it an actual
No, it's a video game. I don't know if they used like the Diablo 3 engine or what. It really feels and even sounds like Diablo 3, but
really?
it's set like in this fantastical version of I want to say early 19th century New England. You have
Ooh,
you have guns and muskets and stuff.
looks fun.
Yeah, no, it's really cool.
I'm gonna pop it up here. So
I mean,
so you're interested in strategy games? I take it.
yeah, I'm into I was going to say I'm into first person shooters, but
Hmm.
the stories have become so complex and so important that it's almost boring. You have to go through all these cutscenes and world building and all that, and I just want to kill things.
Hmm.
I don't have all the time in the world to play this thing. I just want to kill something.
You would probably like an old. It's an older game now, but it's called Bulletstorm.
Oh yeah, yeah, no, I played that. I played that
Yeah,
years ago. That's a great
yeah,
freaking game.
that one, yeah. Crazy,
Yeah.
crazy game.
Did you know that it's one of John Carpenter's favorite video games?
Seriously. I
Yeah. The guy is a huge gamer.
didn't
He
know that.
he Yeah, no, he spends his time now smoking weed and playing video games. That's all he does.
Oh man, I guess he's living it up.
Hey, I mean, for how much work he's done over the years, that man deserves that retirement.
Oh yeah, no, and how little recognition he got for it.
He earned it, man. I love him. I always talk about. I've been talking recently about how I saw Escape from New York, and man, that's a good movie.
I think
Yeah.
he's one of the few people that can take a really small budget and make it look like an A grade movie.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Well, I think it's because I don't want to say he's good at it, but I mean, he certainly knows what he's doing with a lot of the stories he's working with, and he doesn't really take no as an answer when people are like, I don't really think that's going to work. He just goes, trust me, it'll work.
Duh.
And eventually it does, because I think John Carpenter is an acquired taste, and I realized this as a teenager. I really liked John Carpenter's movies as a kid. Then I grew up and I became like edgier and darker, and I said, "Oh, this thing fucking sucks." And then in my 20s, I went back when I was older and wiser, and thought, "Whoa, this movie is really awesome. I mean, this guy's really good."
That's funny. Yeah, your taste kind of go back and forth a little bit there. Now, speaking of movies, real quick. Sorry, did you have a point there? I hope I didn't interrupt you there.
No, I don't know. I think I was going to praise John Carpenter a little bit more, but it's okay. I just love the guy. I just love the hell of the guy.
Well, I wanted to ask you if Decimators was ever made into a movie, who could you see playing some of the main characters?
Oh, it's funny that you should ask me that, because I like to make like ideal castings for all the comics I'm working on. Did you guys watch this Netflix show called Orphan Black?
Yes, I believe I'm familiar with that one. It's
Yeah,
the
well,
one with Holmes, right?
yeah, it's about this girl who arrives in, I think it's
Oh shit!
Toronto, and
Sorry.
she discovers that she has a clone, and there's a whole corporate conspiracy thing going on, and it's a really good show. I really liked it.
That's not a spoiler then.
Nah. There's a conspiracy in the first season. It's like 5 seasons, so I really didn't spoil anything.
Okay, cool.
But the point is that I think the three major characters in Decimators can be played by probably the three major characters in the movie. I think that's
so.
one.
It's a pretty
Sorry.
Oh, sorry, I keep interrupting you. I apologize. I was just gonna say, so it's a pretty good show, huh?
Yeah, no, I liked it. It's particularly, I love the main character, the main actress. He's amazing at playing several completely different clones. When they're together in the shot, you forget that it's the same girl playing all the characters. You immediately forget about it, and you see them as different persons.
That's funny because I just pulled up the thing here and I was looking. Oh yeah, look at those 4 different actresses playing those characters.
And yeah, no, it's the same girl. It's amazing. She's crazy talented.
Oh man, yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, there's a scene in which the 4 clones dance, and each one of them has a different dance style, which completely matches their personality. And it's interpretatively speaking, that woman is a goddess.
That's really interesting. Wow.
So yeah, I think there's this guy called Christian Brun. He plays the husband of one of the clones. He would be great Barbarian, because it's like this really big, chubby guy who, and I think he would like the change, because he plays like this really middle mannered.
He's a husband, you said?
Sorry.
You said he's a husband, or what did you say it was?
Yeah, he's the clone in the top right. Well, at the right.
This guy.
That's like and in the picture that you have on your screen, the Orphan Black thingy.
This one
The
here.
poster. The one at the right, the one with the bangs.
The bangs. Oh wait. What? What do you guys see right now?
Well, one of those girls.
Sorry, I'm
is
actually
actually
a guy.
just Google Christian Brun. I think it's spelled with a K and 2 U's.
Okay,
That's the guy. You see that the big guy in the first picture?
Yeah, okay, yeah. That's what I thought. I was like, I was tripping out there for a second because I was looking at him and you're like the girl. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, well, that's supposed. He's supposed to be married to one of the clones,
Oh, okay,
and
okay, okay. So you think he would play a good Barb?
I think he would be. I mean, and I
Oh,
think he
that's
would welcome the acting change from being
mm.
that guy to being barbarian.
Yeah, I could see him being a pretty badass barbarian.
Plus, the guy's huge. He's like 7 feet tall, something like that. So
Jeez.
he's really imposing.
Oh, that's funny. Did you have anyone else in mind for the other characters?
The one of the clones has a gay brother. I can't remember the actor right now. I just probably will find his picture if you Google orphan black gay brother.
That's what I was figuring. Yeah. Oh, yeah, there he is. And who would this character be?
That would be perfect for Gabe.
Oh, yeah.
Also, he's British. I think in the show he's British. I don't know if he's actually British in real life, but he makes a pretty good British accent. So he would be perfect for the part.
Nice. Yeah. I could totally see that. Yeah. Gabe's an interesting character.
He's my first openly gay character that I ever wrote. So
Really.
it's been interesting writing him.
Yeah, he's a hard character. He's not like you're typically portrayed character. He's
Yeah,
very
no, I didn't really want to make him the stereotypical flamboyant
right.
hysterical gay. I mean, I wanted him to be openly gay, but
Mm.
I had in mind people like Georges St. Pierre, the MMA fighter, whom I believe he's openly gay, and he's still a fucking badass. He will beat the shit out of you in a fair fight.
True.
Would
Yeah.
you quick question about Gabe? Because I remember I think it was volume 2 you kind of introduced that scene where it kind of shows him being openly gay, but there's the one scene where he's in the bed and he's getting out, and the person's like, "Where are you going? Come on!" And he's like, "I got work I gotta do." Like when I read that scene, it reminded me of Boondock Saints with William Dafoe's
Yes,
character, where
yes, absolutely.
where he gets the call and the guy is touching on him, and he's like, "Dude, like stop!" And like afterwards, he's like, "What the fuck was that about?" He's like, "I want to cuddle," and he's like, "Fag." Like
Yeah.
that's the exact scene I thought of, and I was like, "Okay, that right there is perfect for an introduction
Yeah,
of a
that was
badass gay
totally in my
person."
mind. That was in my mind when I wrote that scene. The thing is that Willem Dafoe in the Boondock Saints is a really like butch macho gay guy. Like he's like homosexual, but not like you wouldn't know. Like he doesn't talk about it. He doesn't act like stereotypically gay. And
Mm-hmm.
I had this. I wanted gay to be like stereotypically gay, but then be surprisingly tough and brutal when the chips were down. Like he wouldn't flinch, he wouldn't shy away from a fist fight or from a gunfight or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Kind of what you would expect out of every other badass guy in a sense.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're professional soldiers, so there's ain't nobody got time for that.
Mhm.
Yeah, true.
No, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, I like that. It's
So yeah,
it's
I kind of sort of subverted the reader's expectations
right.
regarding Gabe.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. Which you tend to subvert expectations really well with Decimators.
Thank you. Yeah, I try not to be a shitty writer like Ryan Reynolds.
Uh,
Sorry, Ryan Johnson, Ryan
Ryan
Johnson,
Ryan
Ryan.
Reynolds is writing now. What the heck?
Hey, you never know. I can kind of see it. He's been in a lot of different acting and doing a lot of
Right?
different things too.
He'll probably write the next Deadpool movie.
I
He's
don't know
helped
if you
fund it
guys.
himself, so
Yeah, I mean, anyone can write these days. I mean, look at Mike Cisaggio.
What he
oh man.
That's a
uh,
deep burn, isn't it?
yeah,
yeah.
we felt
Max
for
Visaggio is someone in the I'm pretty sure it's safe to say SJW crowd for the comic community, but their writing is really known for not being the best. Like
Visaggio's
so
writing
much
is
so,
lazy.
even in the comic, people are using that as memes to like just bash on her. in a sense.
It's really lazy, man. I mean, it's got nothing to do with besides just politics because I used to be a social justice warrior back in the day before I got red pill, but nowadays I can still watch James Cameron movies like Avatar or I don't know, even Terminator 2, and the guy has a really deep, deeply entrenched leftist message in his movies, and I still enjoy them because even though if they're still hardcore leftists, they're still well made. They don't
Hmm.
come off as lazy but besides just writing is lazy as fuck. If you want to brainwash me, at least buy me dinner first. I mean, you can just
It's the least you can
Throw in
do.
some
trust your yeah.
explosions here and there. Come on.
Was that
At
not?
least try, damn it, just
Throw in
try.
some explosions, a little bit of death here and there, some explosions.
What?
Yeah,
We'll
don't
listen to
don't
whatever
don't,
you
don't
want
give
to
me
say.
like gargantuan speech bubbles with 300-word paragraphs in them. Come on, have some pity of me, man.
Yeah, you've had some trials and tribulations when it comes to Twitter.
Oh man, I think Twitter is like a war zone.
Mm,
You gotta go there, and it really helped me as when writing Decimators because I was right there. It was like being a war journalist. You were right there in the trenches, watching SJWs be SJWs, and they gave me a lot of ammunition for my writing. But oh man, I think I really could do without Twitter because it's insane out there.
yeah, you kind of
I can see that. I can see that.
had a nice long break for a while. Did you enjoy that?
I did actually. I mentally healthier and more balanced. I was less. I'm not gonna say angry because it didn't anger me, but it was like you know this scene when Nicolas Cage goes to the porn basement in this movie 8 mm.
I don't believe so. I'm familiar with that one.
Yeah, I don't think
Oh,
I've
it's
seen that movie.
no,
I've heard about it.
it's a really yeah, it's an okay movie from late 1990s, written by the Seven guy by Andrew Cavill Walker. It's about a private detective who has to find a missing girl, and he goes into this whole underground snuff porn ring society thing, and things get really dark. And that's the feeling I got from Twitter. Like I'm this guy going down to this filthy basement full of human excrement, and it's got it. It's got it. It's ups and downs. Let's put it that way.
Oh, that's funny, man.
You feel weird afterwards. You feel like weird and dirty.
You need to go get a shower.
Yeah, and I need to unplug for a little while, take a shower,
Mhm.
hold my daughter.
Oh, that's funny. Um, so I wanted to ask you. I know you have some stuff going on tonight. It's the usual weekend plan. So, how long do you have with us for do you think?
Oh, okay. I guess I can stay for like probably 10 minutes more, 10 more minutes,
Sure.
something like
Yeah,
that.
we can
Is that
start
cool?
wrapping it up. Yeah, no worries.
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
you care to share what you got going on, or are you keeping it close to the chest?
Well, right now I'm still working on Ironsides too. I've been, as I said, unemployed quotation marks for 15 hours. I'm really happy, and
Huh?
I also need to work on the printed version of Decimators, right? I mean, you need
Yeah. Why
more
don't we talk a
stuff.
little bit about that? Do you mind?
Let's. No,
So yeah,
absolutely not.
so I'm gonna pull up uh, the store real quick before as we kind of start talking about Decimators, because that's a good place to start, I think. But yeah, as you as the people in the chat may know, we've been doing the print run of Decimators, Ibai's webcomic, and we have currently 3 volumes out with a fourth on the way. So here we are at the store. We actually have a thing going on right now. If you with a bundle for $6.50, you can get all 3 of the comics.
650. That's a great deal, if you ask me.
Yeah,
Hmm.
they're awesome. Each volume has 2 issues in it, and you get bonus material in each volume. So you're getting a lot of good stuff. Plus, I mean, those are exclusive covers right there. And Ibai is putting in hard work each time making these covers. So
It's the least I can do.
Oh, I appreciate it. And they've come out so great. So let's take a look. We have here the first one. This is you can kind of see the little snippet of the covers here.
Yes, so I can see this on the Google Hangout window, but I can see it on the YouTube window.
You
Oh
can.
no, I now I can. No, I.
Okay.
Sorry, it was
No worries.
it was just the lag. Just the lag.
You scared me there for a second.
Yeah, no, as I told you guys, shitty Spanish connection doing its thing again.
Oh, no worries. So this one was a fun cover. This was the first one you came back and did after having done the first one a while back, I believe, right?
Yeah, that was the second one. The third one is still my favorite though. I really like that one.
This one here.
Yeah, the third one is my little. Oh no, that's the third one. So I've done 4 covers already.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Whoa, time flies, doesn't it?
I know, right? Yeah. So this is the one we released, I believe, a month or so ago, and then this one is the pre-order that we have up right now, which we're gonna be releasing this month. I believe at the end of the month. And so this one we have on pre-order, and this is your favorite personal cover, number 4.
Yeah, I think that's my finest work to
I think
date,
it's
if
my
I
favorite as
may say
well.
so myself.
I agree. Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's such a for me. I just love it. Well, for many reasons. It's art wise, it's amazing. I love that it's such a cool homage to the Jawbreakers cover.
Not only that, not only that, it really shows on how far along you've come, as well as an artist.
Yeah, I mean, I always say that my latest work is always my best work. The last to draw for SAG, that was my best page, last illustration I drew. I think that probably was the hero fan art for the hero webcomic, or the hero Indiegogo, which is currently on demand. And I think that was my finest illustration to date. And I plan on keeping improving.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you're right. It's cool to see how your progression has gone from all the way back from Ware Gun to now, even.
Oh man, yeah, I can. That's the bad thing is that you can't look back on the art you did like 3 years ago without cringing hard.
Oh man, really?
Yeah, you were like, oh man, what was I thinking?
Oh, that's wild. Yeah, no, I could see that that being a thing. And so no, yeah. So I mean, that we got the Decimators up for pre-order, and so one of the things we talked about having is the bonus material. This time around was we talked about maybe doing some kind of like you might say like deleted scenes almost, where you'd get a kind of a new scene or so.
Yeah, there's actually a few characters that aren't entirely developed, or that are entirely written out of the story because of pacing and space reasons. And I was thinking of maybe picking them up and including in like bonus material and stuff.
That would be awesome. I'd love to get that like a little extra thing, a nice side character getting a little more spotlight.
Yeah, maybe make like a, I don't know, a little Harry than comic book strip like Calvin and Hobbes.
Now, what's cool about that is, especially I think too, is for anyone who's maybe already familiar with the series or have been reading it online before, this gives them a chance to go back and even get something that they haven't even seen before. So it's kind of a nice. I think it's a cool bonus that we have in this volume. I'm excited to see what you do because obviously you're going to be writing it, so I'm excited to see what scenes you come up with, and it'll be cool.
Yeah, man. I mean, it will be my pleasure. So far, it's been great. I've been really enjoying the whole printing Decimators experience. That's why I'm thinking of at some point in the future remastering, like redrawing Worgan and getting it published probably with you guys because you're the ones doing actually all the dirty work that I don't want to get my hands on, which is the whole printing and distributing and all that thing
Right.
that I don't really see myself doing that in the future.
But who knows? It'll be interesting to see where Oregon will go as well. And I'm sure with a remaster. Now, when you say remaster, how do you in mind? Are you envision redoing the entire book from scratch, or kind
Yeah, I think the story works fine. It's probably
of?
my best written work ever because Decimators is still like a satire. So I'm not paying all that much attention to story but Worgan was like a looser, more free experiment on writing, and I think I think that it's got the better script, that one. So I would, if anything, maybe I'll be adding some extra scenes, because it's better to make it too long than too short.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, I definitely think that would be a cool thing for you to go back to.
Hmm.
Now, as we
Yeah,
wrap,
again, it's
oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, I was going to say that again, it's got a like a loose ending, as like with almost everything that I do. So I can always do like a prequel or a sequel or just an extended story. That was all. That was all. Go ahead.
No, that's very interesting. I could see that being cool too. But I just wanted to say, as we start to wrap up here, there's a couple questions that I like to ask during these at the end of the interviews. And that is first one is what is some advice that you'd like to give to the new comic creators?
Keep an open mind. Keep improving. Be humble. Don't listen to the naysayers. Do listen to your customers. Uh, as in, if the people who paid for your comic book have some opinion on your stuff, you should listen to them. Critics who didn't really pay shit for it, ignore them.
Hmm.
And I don't know, man. Just keep drawing, and even though you hate the stuff that you may be doing right now, keep in mind that with every page and every illustration that you draw, it gets better, and at some point in the future, you will be much better than you are now. So don't despair.
That's great advice. I think that people really should listen to that because I think they can learn a lot from that. You know, just keep it's a kind of a mindset.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, because it's really easy to give in to the naysayers and your own insecurities, which God knows I'm much more insecure regarding my art than you would say. But yeah, I mean, you have to get over yourself and get over other people, and just focus on your goal. I want to be a comic artist. I want to be a professional. I'm gonna work my ass off until I get there.
Hmm. Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Hmm. Yeah. Is there anything you would like to say to your fans out there in the world?
Well, apart from a bazillion thanks, no, I don't think so. I mean, that's what I feel towards them. I feel really grateful, and I feel really humble that I finally found an audience that's willing to put up with my stuff. So thank you guys, and hopefully you will keep liking what I do for years to come.
That's awesome. Yeah. No, I think people have a lot to look forward to with Iron Sights 2 coming out and more Decimators print volumes and a whole bunch of other projects I'm sure down the line for you. I'm sure you're
Hmm.
gonna be I'm sure you're gonna be staying super busy and for a long time to come. So you definitely have a lot to look forward to as well.
Yeah,
Now
man, I'm really excited about the future.
now go smoke those chocolate cigarillos.
I will do so, but only because you asked me to.
Well, thanks. Real quick before we let you go, where can people follow you online?
Well, we can be friends on Facebook. You can follow my stalkerish yet adorable fangirl on Twitter at Ibai Fangirl, and you can also follow me on Gab or Instagram, which I'm fairly active. And I also have a YouTube channel, which I should probably update more often, but I'm crazy busy being a professional comic book artist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard to find time for things like that.
Yeah, man. I don't know how people find time to. I need to ask KBS how he does it. And dude, he's like a full-time YouTuber and a comic book artist and writer, and I don't know. He probably doesn't sleep.
Probably not. I'm sure that's part of the key there.
Yeah.
Now, did you mention Ibai's number one fangirl? Did you mention your?
Yeah. She's my number one stalker. She's apparently, I don't know. She may have installed cameras in my house at some point because she's completely aware of everything I do 24/7.
Oh, it's so scary. Ugh.
Yeah, it's it's
Ugh.
it's it's unnerving yet adorable.
Right? Yeah, it's kind of in its own terrifying way. Uh,
So yeah, thanks for having me in, guys.
yeah, no,
It
we
was
really
a pleasure.
appreciate it. Yeah, thank you so much, and you enjoy the rest
Hmm.
of your evening. Take care.
Thank you. You too. You too.
Have a
Have a
great
great
one,
day.
and hopefully you don't run into your stalker out there.
Good
Who
luck.
knows?
Or maybe you want
Maybe you do
that.
want to.
Wink, 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 nudge, nudge. That is enough for today. Goodbye, guys. Have a
Goodbye,
good one.
man.
Have a
And
great
everyone
one.
in chat, take care.